Hello. I wanted to put out this short video right here for a friend of mine and anybody else who's interested in maybe doing some microservices with PHP that get consumed from a Node.js application. That's the situation that we're dealing with right here. So I just thought I'd throw it out there as a quick video. I don't know how many people are in this situation. But back in the day, back in the early LAMP kind of craze days, really of like the late 90s, early 2000s. I was really into the PHP thing, and I can appreciate the enjoyment of working with PHP, especially nowadays. Actually, it's I think it's gotten quite impressive. I just haven't worked with it for a while. It's my first time for a while, in a number of years, literally, dealing with it at all. In fact, probably closer to 12 years. So quite a number of years. So if we go over here, this is a glitch. I basically just remixed. I said there's got to be some really small frameworks out there for PHP I can get on glitch. I work with glitch a lot, and that's just because my students have access to it, and I can essentially get them up and running in a matter of minutes. And that's what I was able to do for myself. I literally just found this on Glitch, which is beautiful. It's a wonderful thing. It's called the Slim Framework 3. Now I'm kind of using it in probably the most improper way, not the most improper way, but an improper way, as you'll see, but it's working. So basically it's a little, basically a REST API framework, but and it has some integrates with some templating. Now, if you look at this, this is kind of the setup over here for the PHP kind of dives in right here in this index PHP file for this Slim framework. And it essentially maps some static requests to just be handled directly by the PHP static API if that's available. If not, it basically starts a session and it gets things going up and running. In terms of the routes, one of the things that gets fired up here after all the dependencies, the settings, and the routes, finally the routes get set up, and then that's where the fun starts happening when it runs that app and starts receiving HTTP requests at these endpoints defined here. So if we go to the routes PHP, I basically removed just a little bit. They have some console logging in here. Now here's the thing. These are just GET requests. I didn't even take the time yet to read the kind of argument extraction, the body parsing part for the post request. I'll probably do that if necessary, but I think the person I'm trying to help out could get it with this. So basically, these GET requests are going to map a GET variable if it's available. We'll see here in the template. And then down here, it's going to map at this other endpoint square / a number. And then it's going to go over to respond based on this other template. It's going to render it. Now these rendering templates, obviously, if you look at them, are designed for rendering like HTML and embedding the PHP results in it. Now this, obviously, I didn't, like I said, I didn't read about the framework. I'm sure there's a way to do this with the proper MIME types. I'm sure it's going to be mimed as HTML, text HTML. So if you're trying to do this and consume it with something that needs the actual strict MIME type of application JSON, you probably should read up on the actual documentation for this Slim framework. But it looks cool. Okay, it's definitely, I'm literally only 15 minutes into using this, and I just started this video. So over here in the templates, yeah, if you look at their original template that they had with this like hello world thing, it's your standard PHP kind of HTML kind of look where you're embedding the PHP with these tags and so forth. But I basically took the liberty of presuming, well, I'm just going to, even though it's probably in the headers, well, in the headers, it's going to be saying that it's returning a MIME type of like text HTML. I'm going to, since I know I'm controlling the Node server that's consuming this, and I'm not necessarily expecting application JSON, I can treat it like it is and it will work perfectly fine. So over here, here's my square endpoint. Here's the first one. The first endpoint checks to see if there is a variable attached at the end of the URL. If there's a get variable, it's going to presume that it's a name. It's going to return this kind of object, essentially, JSON object that has username and then whatever that name is. If there is no name at the end of the endpoint, then it will say PHP noob. And then the square endpoint basically returns again, a JSON object that has a key solution and then the value, which would be the number that you sent times itself. And then if you didn't send anything, it will return no solution for invalid input. I'm not checking to see that this is a true number. I'm not doing all of this input, get variable, validation and so forth. So just wanted to share this with you. So if I jump over to just the raw endpoint, so if I go to just the raw endpoint, this is this is the square. I can't see this. Let me actually change my screen here a little bit. Let me pull this down here so you can see it. So if you look over here, this is the square endpoint, and I put in 6 as the get variable on the end of it, and it's actually just it's not even a name variable. It's just the /6, I should say. So if I put in 8, there it returns 64, just as you'd expect. If I put in 12, you should expect 144, and there it is. And it's returning it as text. Again, I'm consuming this in JavaScript, so that's the beautiful thing about JavaScript. It doesn't matter if you had 144 in quotes and used it in some math operation, it will presume that you mean 144. So that's all fine. Again, we could do more validation of the input, and then even the response object, we could make it not send the quotes for the numeric values. That was a mistake on my part. I should have just took the quotes out of the template. But that's pretty cool. If I did the first, I just did the root endpoint. You can see it says username PHP noob. And then if I put over here, if I put Jim Bob, okay, over here, there we got. Yep. And so that's all well and good. It's good enough. Gets the base point across. You can do it better with validation and so forth. And but I made a little consumer example over here. So I did a really quick call over to this JSON API. Now, right over here, I'm just using a Node.js. I'm doing it from the server side. I could also have done it from the client side, but I just wanted to just do it in a really fast. Same thing would happen if you just did fetch from the client side. On Node, this version of Node, you need isomorphic fetch. It doesn't have like top level fetch or whatever. I don't even know if that's a thing yet. But ultimately, you can see right here, I'm fetching over here square of 6. And it's 36. If I change this to square of 11, and I ran that, you can see over here in the console, we get the solution 121. You can see how it parses it, takes the data as JSON, it accepts it, was able to parse it, obviously, and then it was able to, at that point in time, do the accessing of the solution property. And that's all you'd need to illustrate that I'm consuming, a JSON API microservice that was devised in the PHP Slim Framework, and I think that's some pretty cool stuff. So I have nothing but good things to say about this PHP Slim Framework. Seems to be very hackable very easily. So yeah, I might even, I don't know exactly why, but if I ever have to do some polyglot work with PHP in the near future, I might just reach out for this framework. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you. So you can go to find this on Glitch if you look around. Again, it's the Slim Framework 3, which is a really small framework for PHP, and you can easily set up some nice. I set up a little JSON microservice, and then I consumed it with this Node backend, but it could just be from a JavaScript client front end. It doesn't matter what the consumer is. Okay, so that's really it. If you have any questions, go ahead and please reach out. I'd love to connect. Take care.